Update blog. This would be number 9. I had a question, well, a comment. I'll read it. He said, "Hi, I want to comment on your condition. I've been seeing I saw 2 of your videos, and in none of them you went into detail about how you feel when you get a panic attack and when you're about to. I'm sure it's a struggle with the medication and finding a common ground and how to control it, but what really sets it off in you?" Then he went on to say how he used to get them, and how he used to get them and how he controls them now and all that stuff. But ever since I've been taking medicine, I've been on the medicine about 5 weeks now, and I haven't had one. I haven't had a full blown panic attack, but trust me, I definitely know when it's about to come on. Like I thought I kind of explained this in the setback video, but I can explain it again. It's like um, it feels like, well, the thing for me is I can never get this word right. It's agoraphobia or something, something along those lines. I can never get that word right, but and my thing is car. My body, once I get in the car, um, and it's moving, immediately panicking. Um, but the Paxil pretty much controls that for me being in the passenger seat. When I get my own car, then I still have the anxiety. It's hard to explain to people, but I'm gonna try to explain it the best way I can. When I feel like when I had one of the last 2 panic attacks, I kind of explain how that happened. My first panic attack happened. I was driving down the interstate, and like I kind of felt tingly all over, and I'm like, man, if I don't feel right, I need to go to the hospital like immediately. So I started driving to the hospital. I'm about 15 minutes away from the hospital, and all of a sudden I just feel my chest, like my around my heart, just going, like, and I couldn't breathe. I'm sitting there like, breathing, and I'm on the phone with 911. I'm like, I'm having a heart attack. I'm having a heart attack. And I literally thought I was gonna die. I'm 10 minutes away from the hospital, but it seems like it's miles and miles away, and I'm going 70 on the interstate. My hands are like this; they can't even open fully. So I'm driving with like the front of my fingers trying to control the wheel, going 70 miles an hour around turns, and he was like, "Just pull over. We got the ambulance coming." I'm like, man, I'm not about to pull over. Like, I'm not about to sit here and die on the interstate. Like, no, I'm not pulling over. I'm gonna keep driving. I'm gonna just keep telling you where I'm at. So every time I pass the exit, I'm like, I just passed this exit. I just passed this exit. It's like, you need to stop. So eventually, I got to the exit that the hospital was on, but the hospital was way up a hill. And then he was like, the the fire truck and the ambulance should be right there at the exit that you say you were at. And I got out the car, and I immediately just collapsed. Like I kind of fell down because like my legs were just locked up, my hands were locked up, and I'm sitting here, and my hands are like this, and my legs are locked up, and I'm just sitting on the curb, like trying to breathe. And the operators in the ambulance is just like he's acting so nonchalant about it. I'm sitting here feeling like I'm about to die, and he's like, "You're the only one that can control this, like you just gotta keep breathing." I'm like, "You don't understand what's going on. Like I feel like I'm about to die, and you just got me out here sitting. Like, why don't you take me to the hospital?" Like, he was like, "Do you want to go to the hospital? Or do you think you'll be able to calm down?" I'm like, "This ain't somewhere I can just. Oh, I'm gonna just calm down, like my blood pressure when they checked it was through the roof, like through the roof, like it was some crazy, crazy, crazy numbers. And they're like, oh, we need to get him to our hospital now. End up going to the hospital. Was there probably about 5 or 6 hours. Did an EKG and stuff like that. The typical things that you do when you go to the hospital for a panic attack, and they pumped me. No, not that time. They didn't give me anything that time. Um, they asked me was I taking anything to help with anxiety. I told them, nah. I mean, that was my first panic attack since 2007. So, I mean, I wasn't medicated after 2007. Kind of just went away, and then so gave me some Ativan, and they gave me some Tramadol because I told them I had tightness in my chest. But I figured, it was later discovered that that tightness wasn't physical; it was anxiety. So, but I mean, to me, it felt like it was just someone sitting on my chest. So they gave me some Tramadol for pain and some Ativan to just carry around with me. I mean, I really didn't know how to take the Ativan. They didn't explain it to me. They just kind of said, just take it if you feel anxious. I'm like, all right, thanks for telling me. And then 2 days, I ended up going home that morning. Cause this happened at like 3 o'clock in that morning. So I ended up going home like early that morning. And then the next day I was driving. I live in Cincinnati, and I live right on the border of Indiana. And my daughter lives in Indiana. And so I was driving to drop her off at her house, and I just so happened to have my little brother and my cousin with me. And basically, just driving, and then I started feeling funny, like, and that's how I know a panic attack is gonna come on. And like, they didn't tell me that you're supposed to like keep the Ativan with you or whatever, like at all times. I just thought it was something that I took once a day or something. It didn't really specify, and they didn't tell me at the hospital. So like, um, so we're driving, and we're in the middle of nowhere in Indiana, you know. And it just so happened I had my cell phone with me, and I called, I was driving on the highway, and I told my cousin like, man, I ain't feeling too good, man. You think you drive? So yeah, man, I'll drive. So I pulled over real quick. Then he got in the driver's seat, and then he drove, and we almost to our house. And then same thing, legs are locking up, chest are locking up. You know what I'm saying? And it had my brother freaking out, had my cousin freaking out. You know what I'm saying? And I really can't control it. Like once you get to the boiling point, it's hard. Like it's easier to stop it before it becomes a beast, like a full grown beast. Once it's little, you can do the breathing techniques and all you want to. But once it gets full blown, no amount of breathing techniques or anything is just gonna make it immediately drop. And um, so we're on a random country road, and we just so happened to pull, like as we were about to get to our house, it was just so happened to be a cop there, and we pulled over, and it started honking the horn, like, and I got out the car, and once again I collapsed, like I couldn't stand, because my legs were locking up, my feet were locking, my hands were locking up, and like, man, what's going on? I'm like, man, I feel like I'm having a heart attack, man. He's like, um, then he ended up calling. I was on the phone with the 911, and they kind of didn't know where I was at. Then once the guy got on there, the cop, then they figured out our location, and they brought the ambulance there. So they ended up taking me back to the same place. But I was talking to the lady, and she was like, are you an anxious person? Are you just a worrier or anything like that? Like having problems with your girlfriend or anything?" I'm like, nah, man, my life is good. Like you don't like a panic attack. If you look at the definition, is unexpected, um, I mean, it's just a sudden rush of fear and panic. It's no. I mean, sometimes there are things to trigger it, but you know what I'm saying. But most of the time, for me, it's random. At random times of the day, I'll just feel this rush of panic for no reason. I'm sitting on my couch eating chips, panic. I'm I'm checking the mail, panic. You know what I'm saying? I'm looking up songs on iTunes, panic. You know what I'm saying? There's no rhyme or reason. It just hit me. Um, when I got to the hospital the second time, they pumped me full of something. I don't know what it was. I think it was some pain meds or muscle relaxers or something. Um, kind of knocked me out for a little bit. And then they didn't want to give me any more Ativan. And they didn't want to, they said, "You got Ativan, right?" I'm like, "Yeah." Then it's like, "You're supposed to have been taking it everywhere you go." I'm like, "How am I supposed to know this? Like, you didn't, no one told me this." Well, now you know. Well, just make sure you carry it with you all the time. And I'm like, "Alright, whatever." And then I went home that day and I'm like, "Man, I can't be living like this, man." And I had a job interview that next day. I tried to get in the car and I couldn't even sit in the car without feeling I was about to have a panic attack. Popped out of the van, got out the car, and then came back up here and had to call him and tell him like I can't start this new job that I really wanted, you know. So once that happened, I knew I had to do something to kind of change my life. And then um, I came into a little bit of money. I mean, not a lot, but enough to give me some insurance. So I got some insurance. Went to my family doctor. Got tested out. He put me on something I can take every day to control it, which was Zoloft. I took that for 2 days. Made me feel terrible. Then I switched to Paxil, which I've been on for the last going on 6 weeks now. Exactly 6 weeks ago, I started Paxil, and it's been amazing. I haven't had one panic attack. I've been able to slowly get back into the car, drive without any much panic. He also gave me Xanax as needed, and I have a blood pressure medicine that I take. Finds out I have high blood pressure, and that could easily cause my panic attacks because my blood pressure, if it's naturally high anyway, it'll make it that much easier for me to just go through the roof. Have my blood pressure go through the roof and make me feel like I'm having a heart attack. What? Wait a minute. See, this is what happens when you doing stuff live. People wanna interrupt. But back to the story. He got me on something I can take every day, which is the Paxil. I'm on 20 milligrams. I've been switched off of it since our meetings, just to check up on me and see how I'm doing with that. Um, got the 1 milligram. Wait a minute! Wait a minute! I'm doing something. I got the 1 milligram Paxil. See, I got the 1 milligram Xanax. That I take with me when I go out. Never use it when I go out though. But maybe it's in my head that I know I have it, so I don't feel as bad. But um, yeah, basically that's how I know. I get the ting. It starts. This is how it starts for me. It starts with a tingling in my face, and like goes through my. Then all of a sudden it'll go through my legs, and all of a sudden when my heart will start clenching, I feel like this, just contracting like this, and it feels like I can't breathe. Then the hyperventilation starts, and then it just goes all downhill from there. But luckily, as soon as I started taking the Paxil, I enrolled myself in counseling. Counseling has helped me tremendously. Down from 3 Xanax a day to 0 to a quarter of a Xanax a day. Most days I go without any Xanax, and if you've been watching my videos, you'll see that my progress has been great so far, and I just can't wait for the future, and I can't wait to experience everything that I've done before, and I hope everyone has a good day.